Welcome to Beyond the Margins, the podcast, the place where we engage, educate, empower, and elevate. I'm your lead learner and host, Dr. Sohn A. Each week, I sit down with some of the brightest minds and dynamic leaders in education to challenge traditional narratives, especially those shaping the experiences of students at the margins. Together, we explore new ways to reimagine schools, classrooms, and learning communities as spaces for growth and transformation. At Beyond the Margins, we center students too often overlooked, sharing the stories, strategies, and ideas that matter most. Voices long pushed aside are brought to the center. Welcome to Beyond the Margins. Did you know, according to the U.S. Department of Education, students are chronically absent, meaning they miss 10% or more of the school year, are significantly more likely to struggle academically, disengage from school, and ultimately drop out before graduation. Researchers also found that chronic absenteeism can begin as early as kindergarten and is strongly connected to poverty, housing instability, transportation barriers, and school climate. Today's conversation explores what happens when schools move beyond punishment and begin addressing the root causes behind why students disconnect and disengage from school. Joining us today is veteran educator and pupil personnel worker Gary Hughes, whose career has spanned classrooms, intervention spaces, and community-centered student support systems. With more than 2 decades in education, Mr. Hughes brings deep insight into the challenges facing schools today, from chronic absenteeism and disengagement to generational distrust and educational inequity, while also offering practical, human-centered solutions grounded in empathy and relationship building. This conversation is honest, layered, and necessary. So settle in, lean in, and let's go beyond the margins. Welcome to Beyond the Margins. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Gary Hughes. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Well, I appreciate you, Dr. Butts. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Look, I'm looking forward to this conversation and to talk about the work that you're doing. Before we jump all the way in, please tell the audience a little bit about your backstory and, how you've come through the profession of education.
Oh, no problem. So it basically started, I want to say, I'm in my 26th year of education. So it started many moons ago, I would say 1998, unofficially as a substitute teacher at my local elementary school, the elementary school that I actually attended. I started there as a substitute, kind of fell in love with the kids, had no idea about ever wanting to be a classroom teacher. You couldn't have ever told me I was going to be a classroom teacher, as a child or even in high school or even in college. But I fell in love with those kids at that elementary school, Gladys Noel Spelman Elementary in Prince George's County. And a few years later, I decided that I could be a teacher. So I was one of those teachers that got hired without being certified, and I had to do my years of taking classes and passing the praxis exams, which I actually ended up passing all of them by the year 2005. And I taught English, middle school English at James Madison Middle School for 9 years. I thought I would be there forever, but I moved on to Dr. Henry A. Wise, where I met you, Dr. Butts. And believe it or not, I stayed there for 12 years. It's still hard to believe I stayed there that long. And then I took a different route. Well, let me stop right there. Actually, at Dr. Henry A. Wise is when I was basically chosen to work with, some of our challenged populations. And I became kind of labeled in a good way as, Mr. Hughes is the guy that can work with the kids that are kind of rough around the edges, or they even had me teaching the 9th grade repeaters. And then I was teaching the 10th grade repeaters and the 11th grade repeaters by the time I left. And then I moved on to become a pupil personnel worker in Caroline County, which is on the eastern shore of Maryland. Stayed there for 3 years, learned how to be a PPW, pupil personnel worker. And then that found me moving a little bit closer back to home to Anne Arundel County, where I'm in my 2nd year as a pupil personnel worker.
Nice, man. Thank you. And, Wise High School was a big high school.
Yeah.
lots of school culture, kids from lots of different communities, a regional high school. And so that ninth
Yes.
grade academy, those challenging students you work with, they absolutely benefited from your presence and your commitment to their education. And no question how you got into being a pupil personnel worker. But for the audience, Mr. Hughes, can you share with them who may not know what a PPW or pupil personnel worker does? What's the nature of the work of a PPW?
Okay, great question. I had to go back to my interview days.
Okay.
Basically, a pupil personnel worker is a liaison between the community and the school. But to be specific, when we talk about community, we're talking about a category of children that, number one, have some challenges with coming to school every day. So, we kind of try to seek them out, get with them, get with their families, try to figure out why they don't come to school every day. So that's our core PPW work. The next week we help with McKinney-Vento families, students that's coming from McKinney-Vento families. McKinney-Vento mean a federal law and regulations that protect homeless or displaced families or families in transitions. So, that covers, several different areas, but in specific, we provide them with resources to remove the barriers from being homeless so they can still come to school every day and enjoy equal and valued education. And then we do residency checks. Sometimes we have families that are not being honest about where they live at.
Okay.
They don't live in a school zone. So we investigate those situations. And sometimes we have to tell, a family, look, you all say you live here, but you don't really live here.
Mhm.
We're going to let you finish out the school year here, but you're going to have to go back to your zone school. And sometimes we even have to deal with custody issues with families that mom and dad, or maybe grandma and mom, or grandma and dad are fighting for custody of a child, which and it's getting to the point where it's interrupting the child's schooling.
I see.
So sometimes we have to intervene and as a school make a decision on where this child is going to go to school at. But we still have to kind of base it off of the custody order from the court system. So we do a variety of things, but the core of it is tracking students with chronic and truant absences and getting them in school and removing these barriers that would inhibit them from going to school.
Yeah, so, and thank you for that thorough explanation of the work. Are there some other major challenges that maybe aren't top of mind for lay people on which could cause chronic absenteeism? You touched on homelessness, you touched on other things. What are some of the major contributors to chronic absenteeism?
I would say the major contributors, each level is a little bit different. For elementary, because I have two elementary schools, to be honest with you, at that level, it's the parents. We just have some parents that don't think that it's important to send children to school every day. And sometimes these parents are dealing with their own personal battles, their own personal problems. Sometimes it's a mental illness going on as to where they don't value school and they either could care less whether the kids go every day or they just want their child attached to them. We have some attachment issues going on with some of these parents in that elementary level. Middle school is where it's not so much the parent anymore. It's just the individual child. Middle and high school is more or less, they don't like school. It's irrelevant to them. Maybe they haven't been a great student, so they fear failure. Those are most of the reasons, why kids at that middle and high school level don't go. School is just not important. When they're there, they don't feel like they really need to be there. There's no value in it. So why do I need to go every day? That's your biggest difference with the levels.
Okay.
Like I said, elementary is more so the parent. And then that secondary is more so the student, but also the parent as well, because the parent is still not enforcing school.
Yeah,
And sometimes this is generational.
absolutely.
This could be generational. It could be grandpa and grandma. One of that they didn't really go to school. They never graduated. Mama and them didn't graduate. And then this generation is not planning on graduating.
Yeah. And so with so many hurdles and barriers and like even the generational struggle, what does effective pupil personnel work look like and achieve when it's done effectively?
Oh, it's always, well, from my standpoint, this is just personal. I have to build a relationship. I need to come in there unassuming. I need to come in there empathy. I need to come in there and see, let me look at this from your lens. Let me see, hey, dad, maybe raising kids by himself. Mom is nowhere to be found. I have a dad right now. Both his kids are elementary. Both of them have disabilities. One is the little girl is in a wheelchair, and the boy, he has something going on, like a brain injury.
Mm.
So a lot of days, dad wakes up, man, and he just tired.
Yeah, yeah,
So he wakes up too late, and he just doesn't send them because he doesn't have a vehicle. If they miss the bus, they just don't get to go. So I kind of got to meet them where they are. Sometimes I have to make a home visit.
mm,
Sometimes, maybe catch him in the parking lot at school, pull the kid into the office and just say, look, what's going on? And what can I do to help resolve this situation?
yeah,
And a lot of times it just starts with Dr. Bus, just letting them talk, just letting them vent. The more you let them vent, the more you tell them, look, I understand. I'm going to look at it from your point of view. Then gradually they start to trust you. It's that relationship piece, that trust. Man, he's not really a police officer. He's
mhm,
actually a human being. And then once they trust you, they'll start to kind of do things. It's not perfect,
yeah,
but they'll start to try to do things your way.
yeah,
And then I just learned recently, you got to hit them with the numbers. Man, your child has missed 47 days of school right now. That's so much percentage of the school year. They have missed this much education. When they miss this much education, they fall behind
mm,
almost by a year than their counterparts, with 18 days missing. That's a lot of school miss,
yeah,
whether it's excused absences or unexcused absences. So I find now that hitting them with the numbers,
yeah,
because we got three types of learners, so you got to give them each way that they may learn so they can get it.
yeah. And
But
like you
like I
said,
said, it's
it's generational. The parents went to the same schools. They don't necessarily know or see the value of education. There are these other life challenges that sometimes get in the way. Yeah,
right, and it's a trust factor too. Like once upon a time, it seemed like when I was in school, the parents and the teachers were on the same page.
yeah,
Now we still have good parents. Don't get me wrong, but we have so many parents that the school is almost like the enemy.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So I
in so many
go ahead.
ways, we push families out of the school and not, created an environment where they feel welcome into the learning environment.
Right.
Then, it's historical too. People don't forget the treatment that they received under the guise of education. So, where do systems go wrong in understanding the challenges of students?
I think the first thing, because I was an English teacher, I don't know if I mentioned that. The first thing that I feel like we miss on whether these kids can read and comprehend. I just think that we're moving them because of the high stakes testing. And we got this thing where we're kind of teaching the tests, but we're not teaching fundamentals. So when they get to the ninth grade and they can't multiply and divide without a calculator or add and subtract, that's a problem,
Hmm.
but we sticking them in ninth grade. We sticking them in algebra one.
Yeah,
So I just feel like it starts with kids don't have the solid fundamentals and the foundations. And when they need their fundamentals to rely on, being successful, especially in secondary school, they don't have it.
yeah,
They don't have it, and then the confidence gets broken and shattered, and then that's when the misbehavior and the missing of the school starts.
yeah,
And the parents, a lot of parents don't really, I hate to say they don't care, but as long as they see little Johnny passing from kindergarten to the eighth grade, are they really checking to see what these kids know?
right.
I always ask the teachers, what grade level is your child? Do you know what grade level your children are reading on, your students are reading on? Just because you teach math and physical education and science, you all kind of need to know where they are. Meet them where they are. We don't know where they are. We just giving them a curriculum. You know what I'm saying? And then
No
the other
baseline.
way, right? Which way do they learn the best? Are they auditory? Are they kinesthetic? Are they visual? How many teachers do you know that understand how their children learn, how their students learn the best?
Yeah, we definitely do not take the time to assess students for their learning preferences, their learning styles, and we do it usually at the sacrifice of the curriculum and the pacing guide. At some point, in the educational landscape, they decided that, a student repeating a grade was too much of a failure. So they allow failures to look like success. And so we've made
Right.
that barter somewhere in our educational system.
Exactly. And I just think that's where the crack in the foundation is.
Yeah. Yeah.
We when we get the child, we're not properly assessing them as to where they are and how we can meet them right there so we can move them.
Yeah. So
That's where it starts. And then the parents, like I said, it's social promotion going on nowadays. So they just want to see the kids go to the next grade.
as a parent, I think parents often trust the educational system to say, hey, look, your kid did the necessary work to matriculate to the fourth grade or to the ninth grade or to whatever the next grade is. And that trust is there that, okay, the kid knows the skills required to matriculate. But that's not always the case. And so how do we fix this? Should we set the benchmarks at each year? Should students have to test into the next grade level? How is there a fix for that on the instructional side?
It's a fix. Unfortunately, the school system don't really want the fix. And those are all the things that you just said, Dr. Butts. So I feel like we gotta see who are we putting in office? Who are we voting for locally? A lady, I went to Bowie City Gym to vote in the primaries a few weeks ago, and I'm not big into politics, so I can't remember the levels. But the people, I think it was the council for our area, the council people and the delegates to
Okay.
cover our area. And I spoke to one lady and I said, look, I'm interested in what are you going to do with these schools? How about these kids that are truant? And she just brushed it off and just started talking about what she wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So I can't vote for her.
Right. Right.
I just and I'm not trying to go in a different direction with what you
No. No.
originally
No.
asked me, Dr. Butts.
hmm
But who are the people in power? Who are we putting in these power places? We got to hold them accountable. If we're voting for them, but what are you doing to help education? What are you doing to help Denzel, who's in the ninth grade, reading on the third grade level? How did he get to the ninth grade reading on the third grade level?
Yeah. I think in truth that what we don't say, Gary, is Denzel is expendable in the eyes of many people. uh,
Mm-hmm.
that 5% or 10% of students that are going to wash out. And when I say wash out, I'm not just talking about dropout, because we know that plenty high school students drop out, go back, get GEDs, have careers. I'm not just talking about dropout. I'm talking about completely wash out. I think that level, that number is a level of attrition the country and people are comfortable with.
Right, right, right,
So I don't think they're going to run to help Denzel, who's in the ninth grade, reading at the third grade level. They're going to charge him to the game.
right.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother conversation.
It is
But
a whole nother conversation. But would you like to speak to that?
oh, we're gonna have to speak to that one at the next podcast. But no,
Okay.
seriously though,
Yeah.
but that's a big that's deep what you said. People are expendable. Some people are, like you said, gonna be unemployed. Some people are going to go to prison. We know the prison business is big money.
Big money.
We do know there's a such thing as pipeline to prison.
And
Um,
a pipeline to poverty.
right. So,
Education is the main culprit in both. Yeah.
right. One could say, and I talk to my father about education all the time. He's a 79-year-old man. But once upon a time, the school system were just daycare centers until kids got old enough to go work in the field, depending on your culture. So it's almost like a supersized K through 12 daycare center in 2026, if you ask me. If you come to school and you just halfway do what they're asking you to do, you're gonna pass.
Yeah. You
Even
can
if they
get a
give
high
you a
school
packet.
diploma for eating breakfast and eating lunch for 13 years straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna pass. We seen them give away packets, at the end of a quarter. Joey did nothing. Got a 27%. Well, let's give him this packet. If he does the packet, then we can give him a passing grade.
Yep. Yep. Or
So
the whole
it's
idea of no one can earn less than a 50.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then give him the makeup work as well. So zeros are now 50%, and all the students getting makeup work the last week of the quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like we've replaced true education with checking the boxes of education, which is unfortunate. So what role, and I know parents don't always have the answers or solutions, but how do we get parents to be more involved in ensuring that their students get the education they deserve?
You know, I really feel like, and I've had this idea for some years now, Dr. Butts. I really feel like we need to have a town hall in different regions of our state and bring these parents in and bring educators in and sit down at the table with them and really say, look, this is what's going on in the system. This is what's good. This is what's not good. This is what happens when we come together as a team, right? You have some parents in there that are still a part of the team.
Mhm.
We let them speak. All right. Then we let the parents that really don't trust the system, we let them speak. And we just kind of need to hear each other and see if we can bring something together.
Mhm.
We have a moderator and we have a panel of parents that are, like I said, they are part of the team, but on the same panel, we have parents that are really not a part of the team as well as educators.
Yeah.
And we just gotta put it out there and see what's going on. What does success mean to all of us?
Yeah. Now
We
that's a
gotta
good
hear each
question.
other.
That's a great question. What does success mean to all of us?
Yeah, what does it mean? What does it look like to you? And I do believe that even the parents with the toughest circumstances, if they are in their right mind or if they could be in their right mind, they do want success for their children. Now, what success for their children looks like may be different
Mhm.
from what another parent, what success looks like to another parent.
Right. Right.
Some success is, well, my child made it out of the junior high school. The
Yeah.
rest of us never got out of the sixth grade. The next parent might see high school diploma. The next parent may say college degree. So what success look like? And then how can we obtain it? And how do we understand each child? How can we help children narrow down what is it that you want to do with your life?
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There you
Because I need an air conditioner man right now. I need an air conditioner woman right now because I don't have any air. My air conditioner is broke. I don't need anybody with a. I don't need a doctor, medical doctor right now. I need a person that can come in here, and put an AC unit in.
Yeah.
These people are making money as well.
Mhm.
So, but we're not. It's like I know we have VOTEC programs, but I don't hear them really being sold to students.
Yeah, and when we've done a poor job, we could go back 20 or 30 years ago when, there were really vocational programs and longer. And so now at some point vocation became like the other choice.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
there's a little bit of a push now with the cost of college, with the restriction of lending and funds for college. There's a little bit of an uptick in, pushing in the trades and the vocations. But again, Mr. Hughes goes back to exposure. And what do students see as potential opportunities? What do families know are potential opportunities for their young people? And leaving it wide open and not, narrowing that channel of options.
Right.
Yeah.
Some kind of way we got to get the information to them. I wrote a book, Dr. Butts. It's called Powerful Language for Reluctant Learners. And don't have a copy on me right now, but it's a short book. And I published it back in 2020,
Okay.
right before COVID hit. And one of the things that, I focus on in that book is on 3 reasons students may be reluctant to learn. Dr. Robin Jackson talks about students having fear of failure, lack of relevance, and lack of trust.
Yeah.
But what I really want to focus on right now is the lack of relevance.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're going to. Why am I sitting in your classroom, Dr. Butts? What can you teach me?
Right. And
Parents also kind of want to know. We need to, bring them in or have them a part of these surveys.
mhm.
What do you want your child to learn?
That's an important question. That should be articulated to every young person and family. This is the learning expectation and the journey we're about to go on. I think it's important to know that at the beginning. It's like going on a road trip, not knowing where your destination is.
Right. So we have to do a better job in creating this roadmap
Mhm.
to where these students would like to be.
Yeah.
And how can they get there?
And I
And I
think
think if we
I'm sorry, Gary, go ahead.
and if I think if we make our parents a part of it, almost having a mandatory, like I remember elementary when I was in school, it was mandatory that a parent came to at least 2 parent conferences. It needs to be mandatory that a parent or a guardian or some mother or father figure come in and help us with this roadmap. We got to make them a part of the solution. We have to make them a part of the team. And guess what? As a PPW, Dr. Butts, one of my main goals is, how can I help this parent get right? Because if a parent is not right with some personal things that they have in their life, they can't be the best parents for their children. So it's not always about little Johnny. It's like, hey, big Johnny, what you need, man? What can I help you with?
That's a very important point, Gary. And we talked about building trust with students, but what does it look like to build trust with families that may be disengaged or, again, have this historical prefix about what school is and maybe what it's done to them? How do you start building that trust with families?
I just think, like you say, you got to come into their space, meet them at the house. I'm just big on person to person. I know a lot. I know now everybody wants to do Zoom or texting, but I just need to see you. I need you to see me, need you to be able to look into my eyes and study my body language and know that I'm here for you. All right. Now, let me say this. Everybody can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just a people person. That's what I do. I have a workshop on how to build relationships. And building relationships is just a cliche, but it's deeper than that. It's so much that goes into it. But meeting them where they are, listening to them, and giving them some options. But it's a work in progress. It's not going to be overnight. So we got to put down some steps. I don't want to act like great things are not being taken place, because they are, but we just got to have more of it. We got to have more consistency. And we need these parents to be accountable, but we also need to give them a needs analysis at the same time. What is it that you need? You need help with writing a resume. You need help seeking a job. Do you need help with your health care? You know what I'm saying? Because they have health problems as well. Do you need help trying to get food stamps, Medicaid? You trying to go back to school? Yeah. So we need to have, like, I know community schools do a great job of having programs after school, but like a parent cafe where we bring the parents in, we feed them, we play games with them, and we let them just talk and relax and let their hair down. But sometimes you gotta go to their communities. Sometimes you gotta meet. I met a family at McDonald's one time. Yeah. The traditional stuff has to go away because a lot of them are intimidated by coming into the schoolhouse.
Absolutely. And as educators, we've done a good job of making them feel unwanted to come into the schoolhouse.
Beyond the Margins will return in a moment.
Your Divine Journey, LLC, is here to walk with you through life's ups and downs. Whether you're seeking therapy, life coaching, support, or personal consultations, we provide a safe, empowering space to heal, grow, and step into your best self. Your journey is unique. Let's make it divine. Connect with us today and start moving forward with clarity, confidence, and peace. www.yourdivinejourneyllc.com.
At the Travel Bureau, we are dedicated to creating bespoke luxury experiences for the discerning traveler, specializing in detail-rich journeys designed with heart and intention. We turn your dream getaway into a beautiful, curated reality. Wherever you're going, the Travel Bureau will get you there in style, comfort, and joy.
If you're teaching urban, alternative, or non-traditional students and wondering why engagement feels harder than ever, the new book by Dr. Sohn A is for you. Unlocking Student Engagement isn't theory. It's real strategies for real classrooms, built on trust, relevance, and relationships. And educators across the country are already responding. Unlocking Student Engagement debuted at #1 in cultural pedagogies, philosophy and social aspects of education, educational professional development, and educational certification and development. Grab your copy today wherever you buy books, and let's change how engagement shows up in our classrooms. Welcome back to Beyond the Margins.
What happens around student engagement and student achievement when families start seeing seen as opposed to being judged? What opens up for the young people?
Self-esteem. Confidence, praising efforts, man, is important. Growth mindset by Dr. I can't remember her name, Dr. Dweck. Sometimes, man, you just gotta praise efforts.
Yeah.
Maybe the job didn't get done, but my powerful language, that man, I noticed your improvement today, Johnny. I'm glad you made it to school today. How's your dad doing? I know you told me he was in the hospital. You pull him to the side. I know you know what I'm talking about. What's going on with that? He's okay. Can we send him a care package? So when they feel good about coming into the building, because Dr. Bus is excited to see them, even though he carried Dr. Butts yesterday, but we got to kind of move that to the side
Yeah.
and give Johnny another chance. Now let me throw this in, just because it all sounds good. We got to do a better job at giving teachers mental health,
Yeah.
self-care days. We have to preach. The teachers can't fill the students up and the parents up if they're not being filled up. So we got to do a better job with how we're treating our teachers.
Yeah, man. Because you and I were boots on the ground, right? In the trenches, as they say. For people that are listening, educators, imagine a pack mule. And every period, every bell of the school day, there's another layer patting onto the back of the pack mule. Classes are 25, 35, 40 individuals, several different times a day, maybe on an A-day, B-day schedule. So teachers deal with a lot. I promise you this. When we worked at Wise together, I think there were 2,400 students.
Mm-hmm.
And when the bell would ring at bell change and the 40 kids would leave the classroom, before the other 40 kids came in, I could still feel the vibration of their energy in the room. Like the room was still
Right.
vibrating from adolescent energy. And so
Right.
about that period after period, day after day, with teachers who have to go home, lesson plan, grade papers, underpaid. Many teachers work part-time jobs. We have to take care of teachers. We talk about burnout and people leaving the profession. So part of my question is, what can school leaders do in advance, not only to support their teachers from burnout, but so that we're being more proactive than reactive around this special population of students that PPWs focus on?
Man, that's a loaded question. We got to do way more than Teacher Appreciation Week, though. It has to be something kind of maybe monthly, ongoing, where we just love on them. Maybe give them a gym card so they can go. Give them discounts to Planet Fitness or local, anything that has to do with the physical body or the mental.
Yeah.
So massages. I know it sounds basic, but these are things that teachers will love to get from us. Like I say, discount gyms, books, a $5 gift card to Chick-fil-A. And it should be maybe not weekly or every 2 weeks, but at least monthly. We have to shower these educators. Give them a day off without charging them for leave. Give them a mental health day, once a month. But anything that's going to make them feel like, wow, man, Dr. Butts and Mr. Hughes really care about me.
Yeah.
Come into the class, administrators, and say, hey, Dr. Butts, go take the next 20 minutes off. I got something I want to talk to your class about. Go ahead and down into the teacher's lounge, man, and get you a ice cold Pepsi and some chips. I got your class for the last 20 minutes today.
And man, do you know how far that would go with the teacher? I mean, I would have given anything for somebody just to knock on my door and give me a 15-minute reprieve. That goes along.
Right.
Yeah, it goes along.
Right. So it's many things, because teachers have a heart, and teachers pull money out of their pockets, man. Teachers go beyond anyway.
Yeah.
So you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on them.
Yeah.
Just give them some quality time, some quality moments. Give them a teacher appreciation rewards. It should be every month. It shouldn't just be one teacher of the month, especially at a big school like Wise.
Yeah.
It should be like 5 teachers of the month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
One of the things I really appreciated when we worked at Wise together that they would do every year, maybe even twice a year. They would bring that fruit slushy truck in.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I felt appreciated that day,
Yeah.
It reminds me of that scene from The Office. If you ever watched The Office when they had Pretzel Day, like I was happy like Stanley on Pretzel Day.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I look forward to those slushies, right?
Yeah.
And I'll get in my car And as I was driving off into, to my evening, I felt a little better. But it was just the show, the gesture that we see you, we know it's hard. Here's something for you. Yeah, goes along.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's one shift schools can make immediately that would benefit or have a positive effect on how students show up, especially those students who struggle with connection with school anyway?
I think that may start with, maybe having an assembly, for everyone, regardless of, their progress in the building, and maybe even having a town hall with them and hearing their voices, in an organized way, and just letting them speak from their heart about what type of change would they like to see in their school building within reason. I taught a class called cooperative discipline for many years, and it's basically behavior management and identifying what the full goals of misbehavior. Dr. Linda Albert. But one of the things that she spoke about was kids need options. Give kids, let them choose what they think is best. You're still controlling it, but you're giving them options on assignments or giving them options on rewards or giving options on consequences.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
We got to give them a voice, in this particular day and age. They must have a voice.
Yeah.
We guide the voice, but give them a choice on their school uniforms or give them a choice on what day did they can dress down or give them a choice on, what type of music can be played over the loudspeaker in the mornings. They just need to be heard.
Yeah.
They need to understand that these are options that can be taken away, but we do want to hear from you all. And then we want to reward, the people that actually come in and do maybe 3 basic things every day. Some kind of way we got to reward them, and they have to know that they're getting a reward, and it's going to happen not necessarily automatically, but we just can't say, oh, whatever class does this, they get a pizza party, but then we don't give them the pizza party.
Yeah. That would,
So
yeah.
they just need voice and choice. But at the same time, we got to hold them accountable and make them understand that you need to do what you need to do to pass these classes. We also might want to give them a little bit of what we call realistic type of learning. I think financial literacy should be a class.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe it can be an after school activity, but a lot of kids, I think, will pay attention to financial literacy.
Yeah. And then we're circling it back, not to just the academic relevance, but cultural, societal, adult living relevance. And the more we can make things relevant to the real world, the more students are likely to engage with the learner. Because now it's for a reason. People don't want to learn anything in isolation, especially young learners who are, digital natives, whose lives are governed by algorithms. They want to know what they're working towards, as do I. I want to know what I'm working towards and why I'm doing a thing. And so they deserve that as well.
Yeah, make it make sense to them.
It can make sense. Make it make sense. So look, if there was one thing in the educational landscape that you could change and you were guaranteed that it would change, what would you change?
I think I would change the way schools look physically. I think I would have schools, and I think some new schools are actually doing this, make schools more of a relaxed college kind of setting. Some of these desks are outdated. Some of the rooms are outdated. I was in a school not too long ago, and it was a boarding school, and the students were sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
Students were writing on the walls, like they were allowed to write on the walls.
Yeah.
Because they could wipe the walls down and erase it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I want kids to be just laying around sleep taking naps, but we got to do a better job at trying to understand. I went back to say this earlier, how students learn. So all classrooms that we come into will be 2026 classrooms. Definitely with, we have laptops and things of that nature, but we definitely might want to have almost like a movie screen in these classrooms to hold kids' attention. I would want the seats to be almost like some of these fancy movies we go to now.
Like a lecture hall. Yeah. Comfortable. Inviting.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Invite, relaxing.
You look
Bottled waters.
Yeah.
Right. bottled waters, healthy snacks.
Yeah.
Kids' appetites are horrible now.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
a lot of them don't come to school. A lot of them come to school and they had an Arizona tea or some chips
Takis.
or
Yeah.
Takis or a Starbucks coffee and a muffin.
Yeah.
So, I would like to have a cafeteria where the kids could go to and get a healthy morning meal as well as a healthy lunch. So more modernized, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Much of what we see in the physical class layout and the physical class space has never changed in the
Hmm.
history of education. I mean, the only thing is what we made the rooms a little bigger and put tiles on the floor from the one room schoolhouses of old. Nothing's changed. There's still a blackboard, whiteboard in the front of the room, a desk. Maybe they're not in rows and columns, maybe they're in small group clusters, but I mean, it's still virtually the same physical layout. I agree with you, Gary. I think it's probably a great opportunity to innovate and think about the physical lay of the land and how it promotes student engagement or, kind of distracts from student engagement.
Right, right. Even what's the machine? Because I just got one in my house, but it's for the feet. Uh,
The little pedal machine that you pedal
right.
underneath. Yeah.
Uh-huh. The elliptical, the floor elliptical.
Yeah, yeah. As you're sitting, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I
for
mean,
kids that, if fidgety got ADHD or just need to burn some energy, throw one on
yeah.
the table. Yeah.
Sit there and pedal. You could pedal for the whole hour if you want to.
Yeah, yeah. And look, that's
So
a
yeah,
2 for 1. We can fight the obesity challenge in America. We can
yeah,
get kids to focus and burn energy in a more positive direction. It has a
yes,
lot of benefits.
yes.
Yeah. So
Because
look,
think about us as adults. It's hard for a lot of us to sit for a while.
yeah. But we have the freedom and the flexibility to take care of our needs. Like if you're sitting too long, it's 100% acceptable for a professional to get up, stretch his legs, take a short walk. You right?
Right.
Kids don't have that flexibility. They have, maybe they have used all their hall passes for the quarter or whatever. They just can't. They don't have that flexibility, and the school day is long.
Yes.
Yeah, the school day is long. Yeah. What keeps you grounded in this work we do?
What keeps me grounded, honestly, Dr. Butts, I just feel like working and helping children is just what God sent me to do. That's the thing that keeps me grounded, knowing that I'm can make a child's world a little bit better for them after we depart.
Yeah.
After I depart from them, whether it's daily or whether I only met them as a PPW maybe 3 or 4 times. I feel like it's my duty to pour into children, despite everything, all the problems, everything that used to be good is not good anymore. Despite, the admins, the central office people always handing down crazy goals that can't be met. Parents that want to come kind of fight you and fight the system. Despite them, I feel like it's no greater work than to pour into a child or children. And when you see your students or former students years later, and they show you so much love. I ran into one of my students the other day. I think I taught her in 2003, 2004. I haven't literally seen her in over 20 years. And when she saw me at a local gas station and she just yelled, "That's my teacher. Oh my God." That's, how I teach kids talk.
Yeah,
"That's
yeah.
Mr. Hughes. Hey, Mr. Hughes." She jumped out the car, gave me a big hug. She's like, "I'm here. That's my husband over there." But she just showed me so much love, and I'm getting chills running through my body because it's like, wow, I hope I hope
Mm,
make a difference in her life.
yeah,
Obviously, I did something or I said something for that year that made her still call me her teacher. She said, "That's my teacher."
yeah, yeah.
She didn't say he used to teach me. She
Right.
said, "That's my teacher."
It's personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's what keeps me grounded. Aisha keeps me grounded because I know through all the other stuff, if you can penetrate that soul,
yeah.
if you can penetrate that heart, it makes everything else worth it.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, look, thank you for being on purpose. Thank you for working in your purpose. Thank you for doing the good work. Thank you for reaching kids at all different levels in the classroom and in the community. Is there anything that you're working on that the Beyond the Margins audience should be on the lookout for? What's next? Any projects, any appearances?
I'm writing a movie script right now on the life of DeLon Parrish.
Okay.
Um,
Coach P,
the,
the
yeah,
legendary
Coach P.
Coach P. Yeah,
Right. I wrote his book, but I'm also writing a movie script.
yeah,
So this is his book, DeLon Parrish,
yeah,
the man who became a wise coach.
yeah.
He was actually supposed to be the keynote at the MAP conference, but things didn't work out for us. But the thing I like about Coach Parrish is he's a great coach, but he's an educator.
He is.
He has a master's degree in education. And I don't know if a lot of people understand that a lot of coaches are also not only college graduates, but they have master's degrees. So education was important to them, especially in this day and age where we got kids that's getting NIL deals and, they just going to college and they making millions and millions of dollars in college and may not even finish college.
Yeah, yeah.
But he finished out, and then so I'm writing his movie script. And then other than that, I want to come out with another powerful language series, a second series. I need to rewrite this book and add to it. And I'm continuing to do workshops any and everywhere
Okay.
on powerful language for our learners. And that's where I'm gonna stop right there.
Well, look, man, thank you. Much success in all of your endeavors. I can't wait to see the Coach P finished product. For those people outside of Maryland, Coach P is a legendary coach in the state. I'm glad that you're working on that project with him. We look forward to your book series. And again, we'll have you back, Gary, to talk more about education, your Beyond the Margins family. And again, thank you for your hard work and all that you do for our students.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on, Dr. Butts. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
Keep doing what you're doing as well, because you putting the work in and you rolling up your sleeves. You doing work that a lot of people don't want to do. So thank you for your duty and your services to our young people.
Absolutely, man. It takes the whole village, everybody rowing in unison to get to where we're going. So I'm happy to do my part.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
again, brother. We'll talk very soon.
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Okay.
Today's conversation with Gary Hughes reminds us that education is never just about curriculum. It's about connection. It's about relationships strong enough to rebuild trust, systems brave enough to confront inequity, and educators committed enough to keep showing up for young people even when the work is difficult. Whether you're a teacher, administrator, parent, counselor, PPW worker, or community advocate, remember this: students do not succeed in isolation. It truly takes the village. Real transformation happens when schools, families, and communities move together with shared purpose and accountability. I wonder, what would happen if schools focus as much energy on building trust and belonging as they do on testing and compliance?
Next time on Beyond the Margins.
Representation matters in the aspect of belonging. You can see the difference with a student that sees themselves in that adult that is trying to help them, in that adult that is pouring into them. Once they feel welcome and a sense of belonging, that makes a huge difference. That makes them want to be engaged.
Thank you for joining us on Beyond the Margins. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, share this episode, rate and review the show, and let's keep the dialogue going. If you would like to connect, email me at Sohn@beyondthemarginsllc.com. That's SOHN@beyondthemarginsllc.com. It's been a pleasure being with you. Until next time, keep teaching, keep learning, keep leading, and keep pushing beyond the margins.